We actually did away with collective bargaining. I kind of led the charge on this and had to be a few of them dragging along behind me because they didn't really want to do this at the time. Well, I'm a firm believer that public employees shouldn't have collective bargaining, period. And I know the firefighters would come to me year after year and say, we need collective bargaining as a firefighter. They're risking their lives for us every day, so it's hard to argue with, but they'll say, all we want is what the teachers have. And I said, I wasn't here when that passed, I wouldn't have voted for that either. And so like year before last, we did away with collective bargaining for teachers to allow that there was a layer of bureaucracy of the union between the teachers and the school superintendents and the school board that had this filter it had to go through, and the information didn't always reach the teachers. Again, very controversial. You saw what went on in Wisconsin with Scott Walker when he did try to do away with collective bargaining. Well, we're not a union state, so to speak, so it wasn't anything like that. But we actually had a little protest in the Senate chambers, and well, that's not Senate chamber, but in Commerce Committee. Jack Johnson, you all know Jack Johnson well, probably used to represent this area right here where we're standing. Jack Johnson is chairman of Commerce, and we had this group come in, and we didn't know who we were, very well planned, and during the middle of the meeting they jumped up and started disrupting the meeting. They were just a bunch of college kids. I called them a roving band of nomadic agitators. They didn't have any clue while they were there. I would ask some of these kids in the hall, why are you here? We're for the teachers. Well, we're for the teachers too. They could not tell you while they were there. I think their ultimate goal was to be able to tell their grandkids one day that they protested and were arrested and carried off in handcuffs. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you the kind of guy I am. I love to help young people meet their goals. So we had about a dozen of them arrested and carried off in handcuffs. That was the only day that ever had happened in the state of Tennessee. We aren't Wisconsin, okay? So we're doing great things, great things. Now, I could go on and on other issues. Tort reform, something that had been trying to be passed for years. Medical malpractice reform, to allow doctors some surety that they aren't going to be sued out of business. And we were beginning to get some runaway juries here in the state of Tennessee, and we saw the concerted effort of attorneys, out-of-state attorneys, coming here to start filing these lawsuits. Well, we changed that in the state of Tennessee. We passed this comprehensive tort reform bill, as I think has been passed in any state in the nation, and that's keeping our doctors here, and again, giving them some assurance that they can stay in business. And I can go, again, on and on what we've been able to do. And I think we're just now touching the tip of the iceberg. This year, there's another very controversial issue in education that we're going to be talking about. And this is just a tool in the toolbox. I've told the governor this is not the savior of education. I think what we've done with the teacher evaluations and tenure and collective bargaining may be more important than this, but it is part of the problem. And it will allow parents who have their kids in failing schools, we can predict some children's how productive they'll be in life and their education based on the zip code they're born into, and that's wrong. And we ought to allow these parents, especially the ones that want to do better for their kids, to take their kids and go to any school they want to with their money. Did I hear a clap for that? But it is controversial. Well, there may be half people in this room that disagree with me on this. I don't know, but it is worth a try. Especially in areas like Memphis, especially in areas like where we are in Davidson County, not this part of Davidson County, but on downtown. And the whole debate will be, I think, not will we do it, it's how big do you make it. I mean, do we just do a small percentage, and honestly that's what the governor wants right now, or do we just open this up and let this work? Now, I live in Northeast Tennessee. I live in Sullivan County. There's only one private school in my county, and it's the Tri-City Christian School. There's a K through 12, maybe 450 students. Because people are pretty well satisfied with public schools. I went to public schools, my wife went to public schools, all my daughters went to public schools. We're pretty well satisfied. So I think the market will dictate, and that it won't affect my school system at all. But where there is that parent that wants something better for their child, and they realize that the school they're in has been on a failing list for 10 years or longer, they ought to have the right to go wherever they want to. That'll be one of the most controversial things we deal with this year.